To Rhoberta, Shaler, the relationship help doctor, and I'm happy that you're here because this is an important topic. If you had a toxic parent, that toxic parent told you lies about who you are, and you may not have really realized where those underlying lies came from. You may even believe them still. So I wanted to talk with you for a little bit about how to understand that many of those things are lies. If you had a toxic parent, a hijackal parent, and you know my definition of hijackal is a person who hijacks the relationship for their own purposes and then scavenges it most days for power, status, and control. So hijackal parents have a child. If they did it on purpose, it's because they thought they would have someone who would love them unconditionally, not judge them, and they would be able to manipulate and have power over them forever. And so they didn't do that consciously. I'm not saying that that's what they decided to do one day. It's just the way that they're built. They were organically built that way, and that's what they do. And you might have had a parent like that. So I wanted to talk with you about a few things that you might think about yourself that your hijackal parent would have installed, or your very extreme passive-aggressive parent might have installed. And right from the moment you made your entrance into the world, you were in danger if you had a parent like that. You were this perfect little person and they loved you, but maybe their nose was out of joint. If they weren't the one who gave birth to you, maybe your hijackal father said, but what about me? This child has taken my place. And so they started to have some resentment. And the limelight shifts to the baby, and the hijackal parent likes that for a little while because they get attention. But then when that baby starts to be able to talk and walk, and the first time that baby says no, maybe it's cute, but when the baby says no many times as a toddler, the hijackal parent gets very offended and gets fiercely competitive with the baby. So a hijackal parent is a force of nature, and that hijackal parent will cut you down, wear you down, tear you down, and they'll then, after cutting you down, will make you wrong because you're wet and bleeding. And that's not a good thing, but that's not an overstatement. So if you ever cross a hijackal, you know that all hell breaks loose, and they're not happy at all, and you're all wrong. You're to blame. It's always your fault. Everything is your fault, and a hijackal is never accountable. So that's a huge piece. So I just want to run through a few things here that you might have as underlying beliefs about yourself if you were raised by a toxic parent, a hijackal parent in my terms, and so that you could think about it. Like, you can spend some quiet time, just think about it. Is this an underlying belief in my life? Do I hear this in my own self-talk sometimes? So one of those things might be that from an early age, you got the sense that you were just too much trouble to have around. That you were demanding, like even as a small child needing new clothes or food or something, you were given a message that you were just too much trouble to have around. And now as an adult, you may be feeling like, well, I should never impose. I should never ask for what I need or want. In fact, I shouldn't have any wants if I really were a good person. So there's one, that you were just too much trouble. That might be an underlying belief. Another one might be that you're never good enough. No matter what you do is never good enough. Well, think about the hijackal parent. They are never going to let you feel good enough because they need to have power and control over you. So if you have this little feeling inside you that rises up every now and again, thinking, oh no, well, I'm not good enough. I couldn't do that. I'm not going to try that. I might fail. Nobody really likes me. They just pretend they like me. Those things come from that toxic parent who, long before you had language, started giving you the feeling that you're just not good enough. And you are. You are. And you deserve love. And you deserve to breathe and take up space and expand into it and be you. Another thing is that your hijackal parent might have given you the sense that you weren't worth spending time with. They were always too busy for you. They didn't want to make special times with you. And if they did, they were resentful and they were trying to get away. And so you got the underlying belief that you were just not worth spending time with. And that you may be thinking that even though people now as an adult, they want to spend time with you, you don't trust it. You know, you think they're just being nice or something, and that could be underlying everything. Another one is that you're not enough. As a human being, you're just not enough. You don't show up enough. You don't give enough. You don't have enough. You're not interesting enough. And that came from your hijackal parent. Isn't that sad? Now, remember, these things came from your hijackal parent before you even had language. It was a feeling. You were taking everything in through your senses, and you learned this. And then when language became yours, it was reinforced. Another thing is that your hijackal parent would give you the sense that it's your job to please him or her. How could that little child have a job of making the giants happy? Now, all children have that to a degree, but if you have a hijackal parent, you can never make them happy because you'll never be good enough, right? So those two things go together. So it's not your job to please them. Another thing they might have said is that you're not smart enough. You know, I had the opposite in my life. My mother used to say to me, it's a good thing you're smart because you're fat and ugly. I heard that at least every week of my life. So watch for these messages that are underlying. That's why you get professional help. That's why you work with someone like me, so that we can ask you the questions and you take the time to get down there and find out what were the underlying messages that told you who you are. And are you still believing them at some level and therefore sabotaging your life right now? It's so important. Another, they might have told you that you're incapable. Oh, you'll never be able to do that. You'll never amount to a hill of beans. Everything you try, you screw up. Sound familiar? Got a mom or dad who says that kind of thing? Or maybe that you can't make good decisions. Oh, well, no, well, I'll make the decisions for you because you can't make good decisions. Or every time you make a decision, it doesn't turn out right. Somehow they really highlight that and turn all the heat on that one, and they forget about the 20 good decisions you made. Focus on the one that didn't work out so well. Do you see how insidious this is? Like right from you were little, this stuff was put into the bedrock of your decision and your understanding of who you are. And going with that means then that they don't think you should take risks, because what if you succeeded? Their competitive nature pops out at that time. If you take risks and you succeed, then you're not under their thumb and they're controlling you. So then you shouldn't take risks. Maybe that stopped you from your business or your life or doing something completely different than the family script and stepping out, because you got that underlying feeling that you shouldn't take risks. And, the most familiar one that most of the clients that I have, and I have clients all over the world because I work through Zoom conferencing, so we can always see each other, is that they're so familiar with that phrase coming from a toxic parent. Who do you think you are? Right? Does that sound familiar to you? So there's a whole lot of things that might be lying under the surface of who you are, affecting everything that you think about yourself, or on your worst days that you think about yourself. And your hijackal parent installed that. Installed it like a program that has malware and worms in it. And they need to be found, and they need to be taken out. And we need to make sure that there are no viruses in your life that were installed in the programming your parents gave you. And that's what I'm here to do. So if I can help you in any way, go to forrelationshiphelp.com, forrelationshiphelp.com, and find ways. Visit my YouTube channel. You may be on it right now. If you're not, go and visit it. Of course, it's called For Relationship Help. I'm Dr. Rhoberta Shaler, the Relationship Help Doctor. I want you to succeed. So take these old programs and turn them on their ear into something wonderful. Talk soon. Bye-bye.